Hello, Magnetic Muse, and welcome to another episode. I'm joined today by an amazing guest, Mia. What's your surname, Mia?
Bolden. That's okay. It's Bolden.
Mia Bolden, who is a retreat leader for women over 40 because she believes so deeply in grabbing life by the horns and reinventing yourself and experiencing life to the fullest. So, this episode is really about reinvention and how it's so how important it is for women who want to be in their feminine, who want to be in their power, to connect with other women and be experience those kind of retreats where they can be around joy and love and peace and magic and sisterhood, I think.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so let's begin with your story. Who were you before you changed your life, and before the Mia who began 8 years in the game now of leading retreats, sometimes twice a month? Who were you before this?
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I want to say thank you so much again for having me on your podcast. I'm super excited to talk to your audience. But that's a loaded question there, let's say. So to shorten that up as much as I possibly can, I say the Mia in my 20s, I always kept bartending and waiting tables was just what I did as far as my profession, if you will. And I did that from everywhere from the local mom and pops into doing corporation, things like that. But in my 20s, I was off the chain, is what I also tell people. That's when I was partying too much. I was drinking too much. I was in toxic relationship after toxic relationship, seeking outside validation from men and the people that I was dating, So my 20s went by very fast. I lived this very fast life. And I tell people there was even a part of my 20s where I was out here running the streets selling drugs, again, doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing. But I say ish hit the fan for me when I was 29, 30 years old. And that is when all the people I was hanging around with, like the drug circle, everybody started going to jail. And the relationship that I was in, I caught him cheating on me again, walked in the house on that. So that was another failure right there. And then all of my friends that I had around me, when the money stopped, when the fast cars stopped, when the partying stopped, those friends that I had, they all of a sudden disappeared. So at 30 years old, I truly had to rebuild myself again. And I tell people that's when I hit my heaviest weight of 300 pounds. My self esteem was gone. My confidence was gone. And I literally had to start off rock bottom and building myself up. So truly, that is who Mia was before I started coaching, leading empowerment retreats, opening up a women's fitness studio, and doing all of these things. That is who I was, long story short.
I've got so much goosebumps and a lot of resonance. There's a lot of parallels between our stories as well. Um,
Mhm.
so what did you what was the hardest part for you? Or maybe what was the easy what was the hardest part of your transition from transitioning away from was it like a snap thing where your consciousness just shifted and you began
Mhm.
to develop your fitness and you let go of the old? Or what happened? Like,
Mhm.
how did you go through the grief of the identity shift, perhaps? And like the back when you hit rock bottom and you
Mhm.
noticed that everything around you was pretty much toxic, what happened?
Mhm.
Like, what happened to your consciousness, and then how did that shift? How did the phoenix rise?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So definitely hitting that rock bottom, I knew that I had to get out of the environment that I was in. At that point in time, I stayed in another part of the states. I was in North Carolina at that time, and I had to move back home to Florida, which was my hometown, to do a whole nother restart. Because I tell people all the time, sometimes you're in that environment, and your environment molds you and shapes you more than you know. And I tell people I was still trying to, even though the money was gone, the relationship was gone, I had hit rock bottom. I was still trying to take care of other people that were around me, and I couldn't even take care of myself. And so I literally just had to move back home and I had to start rebuilding myself. And the first thing that typically what we do when we start rebuilding ourselves, especially with losing weight, is we go to the gym because it's like, oh, I got to go lose the weight. And so I go to the gym and I'll never forget I was in the gym and I remember looking at everybody else, comparing myself to everybody else in there because that was a gremlin that had sat on my shoulders since I was a little girl comparing myself to other people. Am I good enough? Accept me, love me, can I fit in? Followed me in my 20s when I was into toxic relationship after toxic relationship, love me, accept me, accept me. And I never handled that. And I tell people we're good at pushing things down, but it will come up, either willingly or sometimes when you're not even thinking about it. And it came up for me when I was at the gym trying to heal myself. And I'm in there looking at everybody else, comparing myself to everybody else, and I just didn't feel like I fit in. And within that, as crazy as this sounds, I was like, I know I want to find somewhere where I can build up my confidence again, feel good about myself, and lose weight. I was like, I know there's got to be something like that here. And I remember hearing of like burlesque fitness studios, vertical pole studios, belly dancing studios, that there's like the fun, classes and stuff. And I was looking for that in the area and they did not have one. So I ended up with a friend of mine starting to build that. And within that, I started healing myself. I tell people I took my first yoga class, which was a hot yoga class. And I was like, what the fudge? Like everybody is paying for this? Like this room is 102 degrees in here and y'all like, what is this about? But then I tell people at the end of the yoga class when I was in Shavasana, in the resting pose that they put you in at the end of class, I tell people that's when I just started bawling.
Yeah.
I just started crying like a baby. I'll never forget. And I didn't know what it was then. Now I do know that was the beginning of me releasing all of these things, we push down. And I say that was also the beginning of my spiritual awakening. And that was the start of my journey, really from the inside out. That's when I started getting certified in yoga, learning the whole woo woo world, aligning the chakras, releasing these things. And so, yeah, so that was kind of the beginning. That next step was that right there in the healing of myself.
So you're an energy master as well then. So what are your modalities? You're a Reiki master as well as a Ho'oponopono practitioner.
Correct. So I got certified as a yoga instructor in 2014.
Mm,
Fast forward, I was still healing myself because again, all of these things start coming up for you when you're in the world of, definitely releasing and, working on stuff like that. So past traumas came up. Past traumas came up for me of sexual abuse when I got molested at 12 by an uncle of mine. And I had pushed that down, pushed that down. Well, oops, there, that comes up. Said different thing that came up for me was the relationship between me and my mother. I had built a very big wall around me and my mother. That's a whole nother story, but that came back up for me. So at that time, as spiritual advisor, one of the things was I told him I just felt really stuck inside. I was doing the work, I was doing all these things, but all I remember saying was I just felt stuck. And he asked me, "Have you ever tried Reiki?" So I went in at that time. I did not. For those who don't know, that's working with universal life force energy. So I was in there and I went through my first Reiki session and I would never forget, I just felt lighter. That's
mm.
all I could really say. I just really felt lighter. I love that so much. I went, for about 3 months straight doing that 3 to 4 months. And I loved it so much that I ended up getting certified as a Reiki master. So I did get certified in 2016 for that. Fast forward about another year, I was working on the past sexual abuse with, the trauma that I had with my uncle in my past, and at this time, I did start speaking and helping others, and I remember going to my spiritual advisor and saying I felt triggered every time I told the story, but I just wanted to not to just get empowered and tell it, and he said, "Have you ever heard of Ho'oponopono?" And I have because my mother's Hawaiian, I'm Polynesian, so I've heard, but I never knew what it was. Long story short, I ended up going in there for that because it's about taking you back to base, making it right to where you're not getting triggered. You're not happy, you're not sad, it's just making it right. So I went in for that, loved that healing so much that I got certified as a Ho'oponopono practitioner. So I always say the things that I've gotten certified in and that I work is not just things that I heard about or that I read or that things that's helped heal my past traumas as well. So yes, that's how that happened too.
Again, it's like such a parallel. So for me, I hit rock bottom in 2018, and I walked out of my job. I had yet another abusive partnership or relationship come into the house, abuse, blah blah blah, and I was like, "What the hell?" And I also I went to Thailand, and I
Mhm.
I had Reiki, but I got super sick. Like afterwards, it was
Mm.
it, like, wow. And then I went deep into shadow work for like 8 weeks for the first time in my life. And I had a few other things, like I had some shamanic work and this and that. But then I also came back and I became a Reiki master. I also trained in Ho'oponopono and went through that journey. So because I guess what I'm hearing and what I'm loving is the evolutionary pathway of the priestess, the role of the healer. You came into
Mhm.
this incarnation to have these soul curriculum and to then go out and do the work, support others in their own journeys. Um, why do you think so many women? Why do you work with women only in their over 40s? Before I ask the next question.
Yeah, so I tell one of the reasons that I work with only women, one is because I am a woman. So that's who I can relate to the most. I am very blessed that I even have men that have come across me in my path and like, "Mia, you're inspiring. I'd love for you to do retreat for men," and that's great. But I tell people that's just not who I resonate with. I resonate with my tribe, and that's my tribe of women. And because the reason that I do what I do is because I'm a true believer in one is I believe in other women when they don't believe in themselves. And why do I do that? Because I needed somebody to believe in me when I had hit my rock bottom and I didn't believe in myself. And I needed somebody to say, Mia, you are smart enough. You can do this. You are beautiful, blah, 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 to where I felt powerful enough to, when I was on my healing journey, that I ended up opening up a women's fitness studio of all things. And within the fitness studio, healing myself and working with all these other women, and of course, bringing my healings and what I've learned to them in the studio, which is what brought me to coaching in the first place, which is what then led me into retreats. So I'm very big on it because it was my journey as well. It's like I see that it was literally my journey. I was healing myself, which led me again to the studio. And then I would see all these ladies that were like me that came in around my age that needed the same thing. And so it's just a space that I was in, and that's why I've continued working with women, over 40 because I believe, especially now, at that age where they give to everybody else, we give into everybody else, we take care of others. Again, like I mentioned in the beginning, sometimes we can't even take care of our own self. We're giving, we're giving. That we need this space, whether it's at a retreat, whether it's at a fitness studio, whether it's at the sister circle, whatever that is, we need that space for ourselves. So that's why I'm so drawn to working with women.
Yeah, I was gonna pose another question. You started to answer it, but just before you said that, I literally had tear pricks in my eyes just listening to you, and I just wanted to, and so many goosebumps. I've actually not had a guest where I've had goosebump after goosebump, and what I feel is just such a radiant love and light. Like honestly, I hate to sound so cliche, but you
Oh, thank you.
say such love. That's all I can and passion. Like it's very embodied. I guess it's embodiment. Um,
Mhm.
so I was gonna say, why do so many women wake up in their 40s and realize they've lost themselves? But you've touched on that. It's this overgiving, pouring out of an empty cup. What else do you think?
Yeah, it is. And then I really do see what happens is at this age is something has shifted. The kids are out of the house, maybe. Your partner who's been your husband for 20, 30 years has either divorced or has passed on, or something has happened to where that shifted. You're at a health transition to sometimes these ladies get some health news that it's like, okay, now I need to wake up. But it's something that really just shifts that they have to look at themselves instead of giving to everybody else because the focus was the spouse, the focus was the kids, the focus was the job, the focus was, and then something has shifted and then it's like, oh no, now the kids are there, the spouses are there, the job has changed, now it's about me. And then that's when the biggest thing a lot of ladies come to me is ask them all the time. They come to me and they say, "Me, I wanna be happy. I want to, I wanna find my passion. I wanna," and, I'm like, "Okay, great. I can help you out with that." I say, "Well, what makes you happy?" And I tell people that's when the tears come, that's when the blank stares come. That's when they look down and they're like, they don't know because they've literally given to so many people that they don't know what makes them happy. And I get it because I was there too. I was giving, giving, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what makes me, I don't know. And so that I say, if nothing else in this world, we should know what makes us happy, what lights us up, what makes us feel good. And so that's why I'm definitely again big on that because I don't feel like anybody should walk on around this world and just say I don't know. And I'm a true believer. It's in my book that I have. I say I'm a true believer that we were not just put on this world to go to school, get a good job, vacation once a year, you pay your bills, and then with the time you have left, then you might be able to go and travel or do something differently. I really feel like, again, we have a purpose here, and it's not just to pay the bills. It's not just to raise the family for some. It's a
Yeah,
bigger thing, and if you feel it in here, you have to follow that, so.
I love that. And what's your book called?
It's a book that I wrote in my 30s. I'm a little wiser now, as I tell people, but it's How to Discover Your Life's Purpose After 30. What the fudge am I here for? It's on Amazon. Shameless plug there.
Oh, do it.
Um, yeah. But it's the same techniques that I teach now. So it's still the same techniques, the same questions I pose to women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. So it's still valuable to right now and to what I teach now.
It's so funny that you say that because I guess this is a universal story. So, like when I had my dark night of the soul, I was leading a school. I'd been working 70 to 100-hour weeks. I'd been pouring into my career. I was a complete workaholic. I was a teacher in a city London. I was passionate about it, but over, I was very identified with my role, and that was everything that I was, and nothing else in my life really mattered. And at the same breath, I was living many different lives. But,
Yeah.
one of the things that I was literally at rock bottom, like, I was like, "I need help, like, maybe I need therapy or maybe I
Mhm,
need a coach," and so I hired this coach, and she came over to the house, and she sat down, and she said, "Have you got an A3 piece of paper?" And she put it on the side, and she said, "Write 3 columns. What do you wanna be, do, have?" And in that
mhm,
first moment, I was like, "I don't know." I was that disconnected that I didn't know anymore. But over the
mhm,
following days, I started to write and write, and that's how I ended up on the magical path as well, because everything I wrote came to fruition. But, it is that moment where women, realize they don't know who they are or what they want,
mhm,
and emptiness. There's an emptiness there, and I think even though we talk about that, it is the beginning of your chrysalis into a
mhm.
awaken your second life, isn't it? It's a pathway. It's a what a portal. What is that? What I'm trying to say? An initiation.
Yes, absolutely. I tell people even sometimes they say like, "Oh, I feel stuck and I don't know what to do," or they say that list is blank, but I tell people that's almost you need to think about it differently. I tell people that's almost forward movement. If you feel stuck, that's something inside of you that's telling you you're not stuck. It's just telling you what you've been doing is not working anymore. It's
Yeah.
time for that new chapter. Step into that portal, right on that new page. It's time for the next thing. And I always, one thing that I've learned because I had to learn how to give myself grace too, is I tell women, give yourself some mother fudging grace.
Yeah.
It's a new chapter, it's about life, and I think that's another thing is we have been programmed that this is how our life is supposed to look for the rest of our life.
Mhm.
No, like, who said that you're supposed to work one job and have one career and you have one focus and that is all? Just like you said, you've had many lives. I've had many lives. I've
Yeah.
had many and I continue to hope. I'm working on my next thing. I'm working on opening up a girls' school in Jamaica. I moved to Jamaica 2 years ago. Like, I'm working on my next, so I feel like it's chapters and it's not stuck. It's just something that's the movement telling you it's time to go. It's time for our next thing, so.
Oh, you said girls' school, goosebumps all over
Yeah.
again. So
Oh,
oh, goosebumps. Okay, so a couple more questions then. What patterns do
yeah.
you see over and over again in women that come to your retreats in particular?
Well, the patterns that I definitely see, one is the giver is the one they just continue. It's a very, I don't like to say hard all the time. It's a very challenging pattern to break is to really focus on yourself and to not give to everybody else. A pattern is another thing is feeling guilty. Women even feel guilty about taking care of themselves. Another thing that I teach my coaching clients, retreat guests, and I say all the time is I teach you how to be a non-mother fudging negotiable. You are a non-negotiable. You have to take care of yourself before you give to everybody else. And that's a pattern that I see is that they just keep giving, 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 and they are not doing anything for them. And so that's another thing that I work with is to teach them how to change that. Give to yourself first and then give to other people. is another thing there, the pattern I see. Another pattern I see, just like I said, is that guiltiness. I have ladies on my retreats that literally feel guilty for being at the retreat to take care of themselves, even though they know that they need that.
Mm.
Because I feel guilty I'm not there for my kids. I feel guilty because I'm not there for the animals. I feel guilty I'm not there for I mean, literally, they would just feel guilt. And we've got to break that pattern. That's what we it's okay to take time for yourself.
Yeah.
Like that is a bad habit and pattern we picked up as women that we feel bad to do that, you know? So definitely the overgiving is a pattern and the guiltiness I see as a pattern as well, and holding on to things that's no longer serving you because that is the focus of my retreat. My focus of my retreats are releasing, releasing the things no longer serving you, anger, grief, doubt, resentment, seeking outside validation. So
Yes.
that's what I focus on workshop day, meditation, all of those things, is holding on to that. So those would be the patterns that I do see from the ladies at the retreats, the
Yeah,
ladies
and
I
like
work with.
all those patterns that we're talking about there is really very, very. I mean, I tell you one of the things that was a big. I mean, all of the things that you're talking about, I've struggled with and have overcome.
Mhm.
Also, help women with in the program, the Maiden to the Queen, the father wounds, the mother wounds, and the healing the huntress that's coming. But that those aside, the ability to receive was very distorted. Like it's so distorted, and I think one of the big things that I'm very passionate about is women actually reclaiming um, or rejecting distorted masculine templates, such as, work, prove, and all of this comes a lot of the time from relationship with the masculine. The
Mhm.
father figure, the mother who we saw overgive, overfunction, emotional labor, all that stuff. Um, but women are here to receive, and if they're not able to receive, I don't know what their life is going to be like.
Yes, absolutely. No, you hit the nail on the head with that one. I just talked about that at this retreat this past weekend. I talk about that reciprocal energy all the time. It's a huge thing. You can't just give, give, give. You have to be able to receive. It's called reciprocal energy. Everything is energy. And if you keep blocking that, that is where the high blood pressure comes, the anxiety, the I can't sleep at night, the I feel stuck, all of these mental and physical ailments we have is because we are messing with that again, that flow of what it's supposed to be, and so absolutely, that receiving is a huge thing. I agree with that.
Yeah, and I just want to jump in there with
Mm.
say that like Mia's really hitting on this universal laws that we
Mhm.
that we need to kind of understand because it is about the flow and it is about the energy. Okay, so
Absolutely.
what would you say? Um, what does a female empowerment mean to you at this stage of your life?
Mm. Female empowerment would be to me right now is definitely knowing the direction that you would like to go for your next step. Have definitely what makes you happy. I think that believe it or not is crazy. That's an empowering thing to know what the fudge lights me up, what makes me happy because so many women are walking around with I'm not really too sure or I don't know. So just being empowered into what makes me happy, what my next steps are, and knowing that you are a non-negotiable. Again, being able to take care of yourself without guilt, to be able to receive without guilt, to be able to make yourself a non-negotiable without guilt. That is an empowering thing to me. And that is what I'm definitely, hopefully getting out here into this world is that it is okay to take care of yourself before you give to anybody else and whatever that looks like for you. Because if we don't, just like you mentioned, we're gonna keep depleting ourselves and then us as a woman as a whole society, we are just gonna be burnt out, and that's not where I want us to go for that.
No. So and finally then, what okay, no, two things. One,
Mhm.
what does a woman look like when she finally trusts herself? What kind of qualities or how does she hold herself, do you think, when she finally trusts herself? What does life look like?
Yeah, yeah, I like that one. Life definitely looks freeing when you learn how to trust yourself. That's a big thing. I love that you said that. Because that's one of the things I tell people is you have to learn how to start trusting yourself and the decisions that you make, and that's an empowering thing as well. So it's a very freeing thing. I'm not waiting for other people to validate my ideas. I'm not waiting for other people to say it's okay for me to travel or to start a business or to go try this food. I'm not waiting for other people. I'm going to trust myself in the decisions that I make. And I love that you said that because that's actually part. I have three affirmations I say daily: is I love myself, I trust myself, I am a winner. So that's the thing. And I say that every day, all the time to myself, because there was a point when I didn't trust myself. I was asking everybody, you think I should do this? Is it okay? Da da da, you know. And so that's a huge thing. So definitely being able to trust yourself is such a freeing thing, making able to make those decisions without looking for the validation from other people. Life is good at that point. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the moment I began to trust my intuition, my whole life exploded in the best way,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
of the magic as well. You can walk in life with a trust. It's a trust. It's
Mhm.
a nervous system frequency, I think, as well, that whatever happens,
Mhm.
that you know that you're on the right path. So the final question.
Yes, and let me just throw this in there if you don't mind. And it also teaches you how to give yourself some grace as well. Because that's another thing. If you start trusting yourself, you'll even start saying, well, even if it didn't work out the way I thought it was, I trusted myself, the decisions that I make, I learned from this. And you really start learning how to give yourself some grace along the way with that trust as well.
Yeah, and I love that you have repeated this as well. That it's so, because I think that in a critic for a lot of women or the other people's. But I think the first thing for me as well was learn, like the first thing when I came into myself, I actually developed my psychic awareness, and through and
Mhm.
the teacher that I found, Dr. Leslie Phillips, she taught me about the neutral observer and coming into ground,
Mm.
running any.
Mhm.
And so I started to learn how to observe different voices and remove energy that wasn't mine,
Yeah.
and become aware
Mhm.
that was mine. And that was a really powerful process to the self-trust. Like I never had to outsource anything again once I could
Mhm.
come within. Um, what's the biggest transformation you've witnessed in a woman who came to one of your retreats?
Hmm. Ooh, that's a toughie. Let's see. I've been very blessed to see many breakthroughs at the retreats, and ladies just seeing what they didn't see in themselves when they first came is always a huge thing for me, that they leave just seeing, like, shut up, I am more powerful than I thought, or I do have direction, or I can do this. I love that. But I will tell the story about a lady that I had. Matter of fact, okay, so I'll tell a story about a lady that I had. She came to one of my Costa Rica retreats. She had just retired, and she was a retired school teacher. She was in her 60s, and she said, I don't know what I want to do, for that whole I don't know what I want to do for the rest of my life. She gets to Costa Rica, and the whole time she was there, she said, "This place is so beautiful here." She was like, "I just energetically feel called to it. This feels like somewhere I should be, blah, blah, blah." And of course, if you tell me of your dreams, I'm the one that's definitely going to push you towards that, right? So she's telling me this, and I said, "Well, there's numbers, real estate signs." I said, "You should just call and just see what happens. You never know." I said, "You could come out here and you could teach English. Like, you could volunteer, you could teach English, get you a place out here to like a nonprofit, to one of these little camps and da 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 da." And so she starts looking, she starts calling before we even left the retreat. She starts calling all these people. Fast forward maybe about 6, 7 months down the line after she gets back, she gives me a call and she's like, "Nia, you won't believe what I did." And I literally just said, I said, "I already know what you did." Like, I just knew it. I just had this feeling because I saw her energy. I saw everything just shifting in her before we had left. I said, "I already know what you did." And she said she did. She got her a place in Costa Rica. She stays in Costa Rica now for 7 months out of the year. And then she's back in the States for the rest of the time with her grandkids. So that is definitely a huge thing to see, that from that spark of idea to her actually moving in her 60s. Because some ladies are like, "Oh, I'm too old." That, and I always say your words. I'm huge on watching your words out of your mouth. But she said, but at any age you can move. And she was in her 60s. She moved to Costa Rica. She literally started teaching English voluntarily. She does that out there. Then she still has time for the grandkids and the family in the States. So you can do it. So
Wow.
that was a big transformation there. Yeah.
That is one of the best things I could have heard, and I again,
Yeah. I'm loving it.
Goosebumps are wild. And I'm just like, wow, you're an activator, a possibility. Like you infuse people with, but you're very, very powerful. I think you should be speaking on stages. Do you speak on stages and do keynote speeches?
I do. So I used to, and I'm very blessed at that as well. I had my chapters for that. So when I first started, when I graduated from ICF, which is the International Coaching Federation, I owned my women's fitness studio and I did body image and confidence coaching at my studio. But right then I knew I wanted to be on stage. Like I love to talk. I've always been talking wise. So very grateful for about 3.5 to 4 years. I traveled across the world. I've spoken nationally and internationally on stages. I've put on conferences. I've keynote speaker at things paneled, all of that. And I did say that I'm gonna get back out here because I enjoy speaking. I really do enjoy getting on stage doing that. But my retreats just got, and I don't want to wear myself out. I tell people I'm big on practicing what I preach. We have to learn how to back away or shut a chapter for a minute. So
Yes. Oh my Lord. Love, love, love. Okay. So
yes.
anyone listening, we're now in the month of June. It's June
Hmm.
2026. When's your next retreat? If someone wanted to hop right in because they're like, I've got the call. I'm ready.
Well, I have one next weekend in Yellowstone. No, and I actually do have another spot left for that one as well. But I do host about one retreat per month. So I have Yellowstone next month. The month after that is Bali. Bali is sold out and Peru is sold out. That's the next two I have to after that. But I'll be happy to leave you my information. So if
Yes.
anybody would like to get in touch, absolutely, they can reach out to me for a retreat.
Yeah, fantastic. And I will definitely have Mia's contact details in in the information and all of that stuff. So just go into the information, you know where to go. The description of the good. Okay, we're gonna wrap up. So is there anything else you want to leave people with before we wrap up?
One thing I always tell people is that it's never too late. It's never too late. If you feel something in your heart or you feel something that's telling you that you should be doing something different, I always say trust that, to believe in that. And that's one thing that I say is we're the only species that goes against our natural instinct. The thing that says is pulling, telling you it's time for me to do something different, to change the career, change the job, change the thing. But sometimes we let our conscious mind kick in and say, oh, I can wait 5 more years, or oh, maybe they'll change, or oh, this. So I'm very big on, if you have that calling, to definitely trust that and to follow that and to believe in that. And I always say that I believe in you, even if you don't believe in yourself, because one day it will kick in for you. So I always just let everybody know that.
I also love that you close with that, and I think there is nothing better than having a mentor, a coach, or whoever who truly where you can borrow their belief in you, and who
Hmm.
truly sees the power in you, not someone who sees the wound or the victim or the brokenness or that's definitely walk away from that. But when you have someone
Hmm.
who reflects and mirrors that magic within, everything changes. Everything changes. So I
Hmm.
love that you became that. You became who you needed for all of these other people. It's a beautiful thing. I
I
feel
truly appreciate that. Thank
I feel
you.
I crazy, like, I don't even usually get this emotional.
I appreciate that. I've been told once or twice. Is that
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm
But
just
thank
glad
you so much. I truly do appreciate you having me on your show and being able to speak to your audience as well. And I love what it is that you're doing as well. So you continue doing what you're doing and making your difference out here in the world with your tribe too. And I love all of that.
I will, thank you, and thank you for all of the advice as well. And you also do coach retreat, facilitators, right, as well?
I used to, I do not, because in my wheelhouse now, my time schedule, so
Yeah.
I do not, but if I can help people, I do have resources, some free resources that I'll be happy to push out that way. I don't do that as much as I used to, again, because of my time restraints. Right now, my focus is I do one-on-one coaching. Right now, I've put a cap on that because of my time, but my
Yeah.
retreats is my main thing, and then I do have online coaching programs. So I do have coaching courses, programs, things like that, for women that might be looking for ways to release what's no longer serving them, stepping into their greatness, finding their abundance, all of those things. I definitely have programs for that.
Love, love, love. Thank you so much for giving us your time and your wonderful stories and energy. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome. Thank you.